On today's Technobabble, live video production.
This is Tech No Babble, your weekly source for church video and graphics news, perspectives, tips, and tricks. And now here's your host, Paul Clifford.
Hi, and welcome again to another episode of Technobabble. This is the show where every week I help you with church video and graphic design. My name is Paul Allen Clifford. So we're just finishing up a series on troubleshooting. And so I thought for our next series, we'd go back to the roots of Technobabble and talk about video production, more specifically, live video production. First, there's a big difference between live video production and something that is pre-produced. The biggest of these differences is time. If something is produced live, that's exactly the amount of time that you have, the time of the performance. We've seen this very recently. There's been kind of a move of showing live musicals on television in real time. So they show the musical live. When they go to a commercial, the actors breathe a sigh of relief, loosen up, and then the floor director calls that they're coming back from the commercial and they continue on. That's live. That's doing something in real time for what's going out to a remote audience. Now contrast that to doing something pre-produced. Think about how much time it would take to do a Star Wars movie or a Lord of the Rings movie or something like that if you were doing it in real time. Now, you would have a whole lot of stuff that was planned ahead in the pre-production phase, but everything would have to happen right then and there. So a 2.5-hour movie would take 2.5 hours to produce. You see how that's different from a 2.5-hour movie taking a year to produce? Remarkably different. Now, the advantage of doing something live is the quickness. The disadvantage is there are mistakes. So what I'm doing when I do these shows is I do them live to tape. So this is actually my second take on this because I had a battery issue, but it's still the case that I try and do it in real time. So it takes me about the right amount of time to make something as that something itself. So if the show is 15 minutes, it took me about 15 minutes to shoot it. Now, I do a little bit of post-production. I put a beginning on it, I put the end on it, etc. And I've done some pre-production. I've come up with the idea, I've outlined it, I've just basically created the skeleton of what I will be talking about. But I don't take months or weeks or even days to create one of these shows. I just don't have that amount of time. There are other things I need to do. I've got freelancing to do. I've got some back-end stuff on the website to do, etc., etc. So I try and do this as close as possible to how you would see it if I was doing this in person to you. So that's live to tape. Now, consider when you're doing this who your audience is, because that will guide your decisions. My audience is, for the videos, primarily people on YouTube, so I want to keep it short. I don't like it when these videos go longer than 15 minutes or whatever. The audience for IMAG, image magnification, they're the people that are actually in the room. So they have basically two perspectives when you're doing image magnification. They have what's on the screen and they have what's what they can see with their own eyes. So they have a little bit more perspective than someone who isn't in the room with you, say a live streaming audience, for example. So with IMAG, primarily what you're going to be trying to do is, because the audience is in the room with you, magnify details, hence the term image magnification, IMAG. Now, there are occasions, I know this is controversial what I'm about to say, but I believe it just from experience, that there are situations where details don't matter as much as sight lines. So if your church, for example, has planned something to happen in the middle of the sanctuary as opposed to on the stage, the podium, the riser, whatever you call it, in front where stuff normally happens, immediately when something happens back there, if it happens behind people, they will start looking around and start trying to find it. What you can do if you're directing IMAG is throw in a wide shot so that it tells them, based on their experience, where this is happening. So the people in the front who normally have the better seats, in this case, have the worst seats because it's taking place behind them. But if they see a wide shot, they know, oh, that's happening in the middle of the room right behind me. I can turn around and see it, or I can watch it on the screen. Much better than having them look all around and lose details for a few seconds as they try and figure out exactly where this is happening. That's really the purpose of IMAG, really, when you think about it, is to eliminate bad seats, to get people to not squirm in their seats and duck and squat and stretch and try and look around the head of the person in front of them. No, the idea is that they don't have to. They can just look at the screen and see clearly with all the detail they need what's going on. And now contrast that to when you have a live streaming audience. When you have a live streaming audience, you've got a problem. And that problem is that they are not in the room. So they don't know anything about the room. If you only show them what you would typically show on IMAG, they will feel lost because there isn't enough context for the video. It's kind of disconcerting to see a video and you don't know where it is, you don't know how many people are there, you don't know your surroundings, you don't know any of that. All you know is what's immediately in front of you. So ideally, probably what I would do with these videos is I would have another camera that would give you a wide shot that would show you my lighting setup, that would show you basically my studio here, and make you more familiar with what's going on in the room with me. Really, it doesn't matter as much for the audience on YouTube or on trinitydigitalmedia.com. It's not as disconcerting, but still, that's something that I could do to make it even more engaging. So, as you're doing live video, remember to take the audience into mind as you're making decisions about how to shoot, how to switch live. You'll probably need a live switcher to be able to switch between multiple cameras, unless you're doing live to tape and then you can edit later. But ideally, what you would want to do is start recording before church starts, stop recording when church stops, maybe trim off the beginning and end, but that's pretty much it, and be done. Now, on occasion, you might run into a problem, a mistake that you want to fix, but stop and think. This is something that I learned in live television. Stop and think, if I didn't feel like that was a big deal live, will I feel like it's a big deal when it's recorded? I think If you wouldn't, then it's not. You know, if it's something truly horrible or embarrassing, something falls on someone, totally different. But if it's just a slight slip of the tongue, don't worry about it. Well, I hope that helped you. I hope that now you have some ideas of some things that you can do with live video production that maybe you can't do with pre-produced pieces. If you like this content, you'd probably like my email newsletter, so head on over to trinitydigitalmedia.com/gifts, GIFTS, and pick up a church tech gift of your choosing. Don't forget that if you have any questions or comments, I'd love you to leave them below the video. In fact, just say something, just so that I know that people are watching and listening. That would be very helpful to me, whether it's positive or negative. I don't care. I want to grow and get better, so I'll take some constructive, make sure it's constructive criticism. But if it's not, if it's something positive, please leave that as well. Don't forget to stop by my store, trinitydigitalmedia.com, if you need any church tech training resources. Until next time, go out and change eternity. This is Paul Allen Clifford with trinitydigitalmedia.com.